Hello, welcome back to Red Room. Today we're going to be doing some more terrain. This time in a delightful, chaotic and tentacular Slaanesh style. Blah. We're using low budget materials for this for the most part. We're talking polystyrene, some sand, an old soap bottle, and some epoxy sculpt, which isn't so low budget, but really part green stuff, anything like that, even some different clays that other sculptors use, they would all be fine for this. The other thing we were using were some submersible LED lights, because they are really useful for just easy lighting solutions for terrain, models, anything like that, because they run on, you know, your flat sort of button-shaped batteries, and you can put them anywhere, and as the name suggests, they're waterproof too, so I think they're a really useful solution for lighting up something without having to worry about wiring, etc. The other thing that we're really trying out today is some still water effect from AK Interactive. We use this in the Chaos Biggie project, but this is a proper test. It was a bit of a roller coaster and we didn't think it would work out in the end, but you'll see how it all goes. So please like, share and subscribe and watch the video. Thank you. Bye. It's terrain time. Well, I was going to use some XPS foam for this, but this is a perfect piece of polystyrene for this, so we're going to use this instead. Now, the idea is that we want to make some sort of tentacly pit, some sort of twisted well that's gone wrong, possibly inspired by too much Tears of the Kingdom and other things. So I want to incorporate some sort of water effect, some sort of lighting, and yeah, some sculpted tentacly bits. So how are we gonna do that? Well, the first thing is first, we're going to need to make some sort of hole that will accommodate at least some portion of this ex-soap bottle that is covered in very annoying sticky residue that I'll try and have a go at it with the isopropyl alcohol. I might have a go at this with some isopropyl alcohol and see if I can get it off. Okay, I have attacked it. Gotta be careful when you're using things like scouring pads, because it can scuff up the nice clear surface that you're going for. As it happens, it doesn't really matter for this. As long as the bottom is clear and capable of transmitting some light, I'm not really all that worried. Now I need to make myself a little dealie. This is technical language we're talking about here, to measure out the kind of hole I'm going to need. So I'm going to cut this in half, because I don't particularly want masses of this in the end, probably only about that much, not even that, because the more depth you've got, the more layers of whatever you're using to create a water effect you've got to pour. So yeah, don't need a lot of it, but I'm going to cut it in half, because at least if it's deep enough, hopefully it'll help cut us a nice little hole. So we're using a highly scientific method here of just piling up bits of foam and polystyrene. Then we're going to put this pen on here and we're just going to literally just turn this thing around, so we should get a nice, reasonably straight line. And I must say at this point, thank you to the many crafty people out there on YouTube. Your Eric's Hobby Workshops, your Dan Does Crafts, your bill making stuffs, because they've all helped inform me greatly on how to do these various techniques. So thanks guys. So we got a nice little straight line there now, and we're going to cut that. But I'm going to do that off camera because it might be dangerous. Ooh. And that's what we've got. not too bad a cut. Not amazing, but it doesn't have to be. So we're going to now hopefully use this to sort of at least make a significant mark in this, if not actually carve out the hole that we want, but we will see. So we're just going to go back and forth like thus, hopefully slowly sinking into this and making a nice hole. So far it's going better than expected. Oh, not bad. Will it turn into a giant bobbly mess? Ah, the flashbacks to working on polystyrene terrain projects as a kid. And then spraying them with spray paint or plastic cement or something like that and just watching the whole thing dissolve. Like your dreams. Okay, this is a problem. Never mind, Mr. Dyson will be coming out at the end. But still, that's actually worked really, really, really well. So I'm happy. Gothy. And that's kind of the idea, but with a twist. Because we're going to use one of these excellent little submersible LED lights. I think they're really meant for hot tubs, but they're perfect for doing terrainy bits. Because they're small, they're battery operated, they're waterproof, and they're remote controlled, so you can, if you're clever with them, you can have lots of different colours going, which works for both atmosphere and for having a really handy way of, marking out which objectives are held by which side, which I think is really, really cool. But the idea is that this is going to sit underneath there like that. Or something along those lines. Nice and easily accessible, and then that will shine up through what will hopefully be a nice twisted pool of water and give the whole thing a general chaos, unpleasant looking unholiness to go with the rest of it. So yeah, now we need to cut the rest of this down to size in much the same manner. So handily, we don't even need to worry so much about figuring out the level here. It's all there ready for us. And it doesn't matter if you don't get this 100% accurate, because this is the beauty of terrain. We can be a bit irregular with it. It's not meant to be absolutely spot on straight. It's going to be covered in various different mediums to make it look appropriately natural, so don't worry about it. So we've got our level now. It's not particularly amazing that we might neaten that up a little bit, but I'll get back to you when we've cut it. Well, the bobbles are already starting to annoy me, but never mind, it'll be fine. So with it cut down, that's kind of what we've got going. I don't really mind there being a lip. That's probably actually a good thing. So I'm going to start cutting this lump up into something a bit more organic looking. So I just want it to be a mound. And yeah. commence making mess. So, I've made a mess. Oh no, my lovely Cleanworks surface, it's all bobbly. But anyhow, that's what we're going to leave it as. I'm gonna absolutely have to get this all sealed and covered in a mixture of PVA glue and sand and paint, I think, because this is very low density stuff. It's very cheap stuff. It's fine, but it's bobbly and it's very prone to just sort of, yeah, breaking apart on you. So we need to get this covered up and dealt with once we've cleared up though. Okay, this is some very old budgie sand. Pet shops are really good for that kind of thing. You get lots of different kind of textured stuff that can be used in terrain, and this is one of them. I was going to use the sand and rocks that I used for the rest of the kill team board, but it's got a lot of big stones in it that I don't think are going to lend itself to being painted. So we're going to use this finer stuff, and we're going to mix up batches because I don't really want to have a lot of waste, and I'm not entirely sure of the ratios we're using here. So I'm going to put some PVA glue in there as well, and then some primer. From Vallejo because it's thin and it's abundant. Will this be a massive mistake? Who knows? Oh, I think I'm going to need more PVA glue, kiddies. A little bit of water to solve everything, no doubt. Just with no hint of desperation. Okay, that's at least sort of handleable. Let's shove some black in there. I don't really, and also hello Luna. I don't really care about how the colour comes out because I'm going to spray it all. So I mainly just want this as a primer and a sealant to stop the endless tide of bobbles that are stressing me right out. Okay, let's see whether or not that will work. But make sure you seal all of this, that's the thing. Don't leave any exposed bits because that's where, sod's law, you'll get something on there that does dissolve polystyrene and you will be left very sad. And that's it all covered as best I can. I will check out the inevitable gaps I've left when it's dried. But yeah, we're gonna leave it perched on the paint kettle, which is probably not going to go brilliantly well, but it's better than leaving it to completely and utterly set solid on top of the cutting mat. So I will get back to you when it's dried. Ah, at last it is dried. So this is the second coat. The initial one that I did was, yeah, there wasn't enough sand in it really. It was too thin. So I mean, I knew it would need 2 coats anyway, but this second coat was I made a lot more thick with sand and sort of just drizzled on in a kind of very gloopy way. So we're going to use burnt umber from Vallejo to base coat this. It could be in an airbrush, you could just daub it on with a paintbrush. You will need a fair bit though. Equally, now it's all sealed, you can use a spray paint, no problems. That's all done, that's all dry. That's what it looks like. Now, in keeping with how we've done everything else, we're going to go over it, in this case with an airbrush, but you can happily do it with a paintbrush and dry brush it. But yeah, with Amaranth Red from Vallejo. So coming at this from an angle so that we get a nice well, aside from making a dreadful mess with the airbrush and ending up with a giant what's-it erupting from it because I hadn't cleaned it very well, and it's sometimes airbrushes just act up. You just got to accept that, don't worry. Sometimes it's just not a good day for airbrushing. But anyway, and that's what it's looking like now. I'm happy. So the last stage for this bit is using some light orange from Vallejo, which again we're going to apply in exactly the same way, just more sparingly. All dry, all looking nice. Now we need to make ourselves some tentacles. We are using some epoxy sculpt, and it's a 2-part form. So we're just going to mix these 2 bits together. I've been agonising over whether or not to try and use some sort of wire in the middle of all of these, but I think I'm going to hope that I don't have to. So we've rolled out the epoxy sculpt into a nice, suitably sausage-like shape. We're using Vaseline, just very light amount of Vaseline on my hands to eradicate fingerprints and generally make this whole process a bit easier. So now we need to start thinking about how we want to do this. I did think about having some really elaborate thing in the middle. Shush, Mr. Compressor. Yeah, I did think about having something really elaborate in the middle, but given that I'm not going to be using proper epoxy resin for this, I don't think you're going to see it, so I'm just going to focus on doing these tentacles. So, let's cut you up. We want them to just, yeah, be erupting from this hole. Oh no! This is going to be the problem. Making sure we actually do this right. Yeah, that looks threatening enough. Cool. Something like that, maybe? Yeah. And that's the first batch of tentacles. I'm going to leave them to dry. They're not stuck down in any way, shape or form, but that's kind of a good thing because it means I can paint them separately, which I like. I'll probably do some more as well. As you see, one's just gone, but I don't care. As long as it retains that shape, that's fine. So we'll get back to you when they're dry. Well, as I didn't actually press record there, we're priming these tentacles, which are now all nice and dry, with grey from Vallejo, grey primer, because we're going to be going for a nice vibrant pink, possibly into blue, echoing the Chaos Lord that I did. So there's no point doing them black. They're going to be really bright and vibrant anyway, so we're going to do them grey. Yeah, it's not my day for hitting the record button. Anyway, we are using some pink from Vallejo to cover these guys for the first coat. We've had a little bit of a problem where sticking them with blue tack has led to some paint coming off and peeling off, so we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to be very, very careful about spraying them and not moving them, and we'll do it in, yeah, we'll turn them over in stages. I have varnished these. I've given them a little coat of matte varnish just to give them a little bit of durability, using an airbrush, but for all of this, remember, you can happily use a paintbrush, do not despair. None of these techniques are dependent on an airbrush. I mean, I would say it makes life easier, but perhaps not so much with these because they're so prone to peeling. Hence why we varnish them. So we are now going to get out our dear friend magenta ink. And we're gonna apply a bit to these guys. I say magenta ink, it's just fluorescent magenta, sorry. And we're going to apply this to the bottoms of the tentacles rather than the tips. And our good friend Electric Blue is coming into play now. We're going to just do the tips of these blue. Be very careful we don't catch the other tentacles in the crossfire, so we'll get them over here. here they all are, all of the lovely little tentacles now. And I gotta say, I'm enjoying airbrushing. It's been, yeah, about 2 years I think I've had the airbrush, coming up to, yeah. And it has been pretty revolutionary. It's not essential by all means to say, do not despair if you haven't got one, but it takes a while to get the confidence up, definitely. But once you get familiar and happy with it, and you accept, you know, that they're a bit temperamental in the kind of you know, routines that you got to go through to get them working nicely. Yeah, they're really, really useful, and that's a very cool effect I've got there. So I'm going to varnish these now, and then we will arrange them where they're going to stay. Alright, we've got them placed, and now we're just putting in some PVA glue in the bottom because I can't use super glue, as I fear it will just frost up this plastic and ruin it. So I'm just going to put a thin layer of PVA glue at the bottom and hope that fixes everything for now, so I can do some more tentacles, because I need to see how these are placed before I can sculpt any more. So I don't want to do too much PVA because I want to use the water effect, but this is quite a deep thing for what I'm gonna do, and I know how tedious it is filling this kind of thing up, so it probably won't matter, and whatever, this will dry shiny and clear anyhow. And I'm just going to use a paintbrush to get this into the crevices, and then, yeah, leave it overnight and hope that everything dries nice and sturdy. Okay, I'm going to put that away to dry, but it's already starting to look cool. Well, this took a very long time to dry. I finally realised that given how damp everything is at the moment in this part of the UK, that sticking it near a radiator might be a smart plan, and I'm glad I did that. So this is where we are at the moment. It's not 100% clear, but it doesn't have to be, I'm not too worried about that. Slightly concerned that it'll take the rest of my life to fill this thing, and I'm kind of toying with the idea of getting some UV resin, but I don't know. I'm also feeling cheap, and I don't really want to buy any more stuff for this, so who knows, we may persevere with using this stuff. It just might take a long time. I'm certainly not going to make the mistake of just filling this up and leaving it, because that would be, I learnt my lesson with Biggie, Chaos Biggie, that yeah, that doesn't work out. So tiny little pores, and hopefully that will dry nice and quickly, and this won't end up being the longest running video with the least amount of actual work done in it ever. But happy with the tentacles. So we want to make some more. And all the tentacles are done. It's a bit of a tedious process. We've got a few little chips here and there that I'm going to have to deal with when it's all finished. But overall, very pleased. Looks suitably disturbing. So now comes the bit that I'm dreading most, because I fear how long it's going to take to dry. We're going to start pouring in some water effect in tiny little increments to avoid it taking the rest of our lives to dry. So I'm going to mix up some of this with, I think we're going to use this Doomfire Magenta contrast paint, because I want it to be reasonably transparent, And I think if I use fluorescent magenta, it might not be. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. We only want a hint of pink, I suppose. But well, let's find out. So we've concocted a mixture of still water and doing fire magenta. It's a bit more potent than I was expecting. I'm going to give this a shake, I think. So we're going to pour this in very, very small layers. Thin layers, that's the right word. Sorry, I'm being a bit stupid. I should get it into the recesses first and then worry about building up the edges. I just hope this works and isn't horribly opaque. And I don't really care about how much of it goes on the tentacles because they're erupting from this anyway, so that said, I don't want to get too much goo on the actual rock itself. I don't mind a little bit of, again, moisture because you've got to think these tentacles are punching up from the water. Whatever we want to describe this goo as. Okay, that's probably already too much. We're going to leave that now to dry. And these are the tentacles after the first pour. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. It's dried overnight, which is good. Took a lot less time than the PVA glue did. A little bit concerned it's a bit opaque, but it'll be okay, I think. Once some light gets through, I'm sure it'll be okay. So more pouring then.
This is the view from Red Room.
And after almost 2 weeks of solid pouring, twice daily, so I would pour some of this once in the morning and once at night, giving it enough time to dry. I think we're finally there with a level I'm really happy with. But no, I'm impressed actually. I thought this wasn't going to work. I thought we were going to have to abandon this and do something else, but no, this has actually exceeded my expectations. It's nice and transparent. Well, translucent anyway, and none of this cracking and shrinking has actually been an issue beyond the sort of beginning stages. It'll still show the light underneath it. So yeah, I'm really pleased. So now what I want to do is cover these tentacles in some of the water effect to make them nice and glossy and slimy looking. Then I'm going to have a little look at trying to make this look a little less obviously circular and plastic, and I don't know, we'll see, because I also kind of like the way it casts the light. And stick some of these excellent little gamer's grass dealies on, and then it will be complete. I'm going to be careful about this particularly, aside from making sure I don't dislodge them, but now they're nice and embedded in lots of this water effect, I don't think we have to worry too much. And I don't mind if it runs onto the surface, because that just looks like the slime is slopping everywhere. Lovely. Lovely Slaanesh slime. Let's stick us on some of please. Really impressed with these. I haven't actually used them yet, so let's not get too giddy. I like how irregular the shapes are, that's good. Well, if Mr. Motorbike is finished. So this is what we're left with all the tufts done. I wanted to give the impression of some more normal vegetation that gives way to these funky little tufties, to suggest the corruption springing forth from whatever this pool is. So the next step is going to be showing you this in situ on the board and all lit up. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much. Please like, share and subscribe, because it certainly helps, and I will see you in the next video.